All right, so a very powerful analysis, and something that's going to be unique to Safran Risk because of our ability to store these results over time. We're not a file-based system, we're an enterprise database system, so we can have the ability to save this information and report it out in whatever your tool of choice is for your kind of enterprise reporting. So thinking about the other way to look at this information, right, that's kind of a project-centric view of risk. So I've got a project, I've identified the top risk on that project, I can see how the risks are trending on that project over time. But the other way I may want to look at my risk is to actually go and look at my risk by project. So for instance, if I drill in now, what I then see is an assessment of here's my risk, and here's how every project has assessed those risks. So what does this view represent? Well, the top line there represents the overall enterprise assessment of what they think their exposure is for that risk, right? So within Safran Risk, we have this concept of global risk, right? So it's a way that project teams and organizations can establish what do they think the top risks are to the organization or to the business unit, and allow the project teams then to use that as part of their assessment, right? So what you end up with is kind of a consistent view of risk across the enterprise, because now at a higher level you're saying, here's the top risk that the organization has identified. What is the impact of those risks to the projects, right? And so an example here is that we're showing the organization has done their initial assessment. Across each of these projects, they've done their assessment, right? In some cases it's higher, right? We just kind of color-coded these to represent, red is worse than the initial assessment, green is better, some are close and some are kind of on par, some are neutral, right? So here is their initial assessment. And then what we've done is captured those same qualitative results by doing what we call a sensitivity analysis by exclusion to really isolate the impact of those risks to the projects. From there, we're able to roll those results up, so take them from a project level up to an enterprise view, right? And that really allows the organization to understand what is the impact of those risks across all projects. The benefit to the organization is that within their project controls or their risk environment, they're able to now have better insight into what those risks truly are, what their impact is to the projects themselves, and then at an aggregate level, what the impact of those risks is to the organization. Allows for much better, strategic mitigation options, right? Because now we're no longer limited to having, mitigation or risk treatment and risk management at the project level. We now have insight into how we can do that at the enterprise level, right? It changes the conversation from a project level risk analyst conversation to the executive enterprise risk management conversation, which is much more powerful, much more beneficial to the organization, right? And really leverages the power and the benefits of doing a quantitative and scheduled risk analysis, right? So as we think about moving forward with project risk intelligence, right? This is kind of where we're going. We see companies and project managers and executives really saying, how can I use this? We're doing this inside of our organization. How can I get additional value out of a quantitative scheduled risk analysis? And this is how we see that. Bringing that risk analysis information to the forefront, bringing it into the dashboards and reporting systems so that executives have insight and can really begin to manage based on project risk intelligence.